Hello and welcome, my name is Thomas, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to create your own simple and affordable, yet powerful WordPress website. Okay, so I've talked with a lot of folks in the past who come to me and they say, you know what, I'm just getting started, I don't really have that big of a budget, but I know I need a website. But I don't know where to start, right? So there's a lot of people who fall under this category, and what most people go out there and they do is they find one of these really popular website builders they're all self-contained, and they let you either pick a template and drag and drop, and it's got beautiful photos and a nice little headline. You click and you just change the headline. But what most of these templates actually create for you, and what most people end up with, is a website that is basically a digital business card. It doesn't do a whole lot for them. Sure, you can say go to mywebsite.com and they can read through your about page or scroll through some of the pictures, but what most people do when they visit a website like that is they visit and then they leave, never to return again. So particularly if you're trying to build some sort of business or brand, or you're trying to make a lasting impact, it is super important that you create a website that's going to be a home base for you, particularly a home base for regular, useful content for the people you want to serve. So what I'm not going to do in this episode is go through and tell you exactly what useful content looks like. I've done that in previous episodes before, so you can check some of the previous videos. Maybe I'll even leave one linked below, where you can take a look at some of the fundamental strategies involved with creating useful content and picking an audience and things like that. This episode, on the other hand, is going to be very much more of a how-to. I'm going to give you exact, specific, and practical tools that you'll find are pretty affordable, yet are going to get you started in the realm of doing two things which are essential to a website. One, like I said previously, it's going to help you create useful, regular, and relevant content for the people you want to reach. And number two is it's going to help you build an email list. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, we're going to pop in here, and we're going to start building out this site, and you're going to be surprised just how easy it can be. So let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to a domain called rightly.tv/hover, and this is going to take us over to a website that I highly recommend called Hover, and Hover is going to be great for finding your domain. So that's the very first piece to this puzzle that we want to uncover, is what is our domain going to be? A lot of people pour over and try forever to find a domain, and they'll spend weeks delaying on just finding the perfect one. The great thing about a domain is that you can just pick one and start with it. Later on, it's not too difficult, particularly with the web host that we'll be using. It's not too difficult to change it later if you need to. In fact, I've changed my domain many times over the years. I used to be Rightly Designed with a W, and then I changed to Rightly Designed with an R, and now it's rightly.co. All those domains still work and they forward to the new domain, but that's the thing. You can change your domain if you need to, and you don't have to worry about losing anything. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to just search in this little box here exactly what we want our domain to be. So if you're building a personal business or brand, you're going to want to try to find something that has your name. So it's a little bit harder. I did actually happen to get thomasmcgee.me a little while back, so I do have that, but thomasmcgee.com is an actual business, so I don't think I'm ever going to be getting that. But what you can do is just type in yourname.com. Good chance it's not available. However, what Hover is going to help you do is go through here and give you a lot of kind of alternatives, right? So they've got thomasmcgee.page. I don't really recommend that, but thomasmcgee.inc's kind of okay if that was going to be the name of your business. And if you were like a photographer, I could do thomasmcgee.photo. Those aren't too bad. The ones you want to stay away from are like the .biz or that sort of thing, because they sound really kind of cheesy. But as you can see, there's a lot of different options in here, and the bottom line is you just want to find something that you can start with. You just want to find something that will work for now, purchase it, and there you go. So as you can see, a lot of these are pretty affordable, $12.99 for the .coms, and that's going to be per year. So again, pretty affordable. We just want to make sure that we get one so that we can set it up with our hosting. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and snag a domain here because I am pretty horrible about buying way too many domains, so I might as well add one more to the pile. So I'm just going to buy thomasmcgee.co. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the cart. And then up here, you'll be able to see the item added to the cart. Then from here, you're going to be able to see how long you're going to actually register this for. Whose privacy is free, you definitely want to keep that on. That's going to keep your personal details safe. They're not going to be out there floating across the interwebs. You're going to click secure checkout. Okay, so I kind of skipped over the previous screen mainly because I can't really show you my personal details. However, once you have purchased your domain, you're going to have a nice big button here that says manage my domain. So we're just going to go ahead and click on that, and then that's going to take us over to the details page of where we're going to be able to do exactly that, which is manage our domain. So the main tab we're going to want to look at here, and let me go ahead and turn on my beautiful presentation assistant, so it'll help me point this out. There we go. So we're going to go ahead and click on DNS, and this is going to be the records that we're going to need to manage to ensure that this new domain gets pointed over to a new WordPress website. So you might be wondering, okay, so how do I set up a WordPress website? So that's where we're going to recommend tool number 2. We're just going to go to writely.tv/cloudways. And I'll also be leaving links to all of these down below so that you can go through and get these setups. So first thing we're gonna do, so we're just gonna click on start for free or start free. Then we're gonna go through here and we're going to go ahead and fill out this form, and we're gonna have this option to start for free. Okay, so after you've filled out the form, you're gonna see that they're gonna give you this page here. To activate your account, please contact our verification team. Once your account is activated, you'll be able to log in and start your free trial. So this will take a little bit of time. You can actually, if it's during the week, though, they're typically pretty fast to get back to you. I think this is just so nobody's creating like spam accounts or anything like that. You just want to email them, let them know that you're a real person, ask them to activate your account for you, and they'll jump right in there and do that for you. Okay, so once you've gotten into your account, you should see something that looks very similar to this. If you don't see a screen like this is the form to create a new server or add a server to your account. All you want to do is you want to head on up here, click on servers, and then over in the right-hand corner, you'll see add server. I can't show you that because it'll show you all my servers in this account, but all you got to do, click on servers, then click on add servers, and it's going to take you to this page. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click on, or under WordPress, we're going to be doing the latest version right here. And we're going to give it a name. So this is the name of the site itself. Then you want to give a name to your actual server. So let's say, or I'm just going to call this Writely TV Demo, and then that's going to be the actual name of this particular server, and you can add a project if you want to. So if you're just going to be using this for a single site, you can just go ahead and name that whatever you'd like. And then down here, we're going to have options for different places that we're going to host this. So DigitalOcean, at least at the time of this video, is going to be the most affordable. But if for whatever reason you want to host one of these other hosting platforms, or companies, I should say, you can. But for most people, I'm going to suggest DigitalOcean, and for getting started, just pull that down to 1 gigabyte, and then you're only going to be spending $10 a month. Then you pretty much want to pick the location of the server that's going to be closest to where you live, right? So I live on the West Coast, so I usually pick San Francisco. If you live on the East Coast, maybe you'll pick something like New York. Just pick the place that is closest, and then you're just going to click launch now. Once you click that, what's going to happen is that it's going to go through the process of setting up the server. It usually takes about 10 minutes. And then once it's all set up, then you can jump in there and start to manage your very first WordPress website. Okay, so now that our server has successfully been added, and along with that, our install of WordPress, here is the screen you should see, and we'll go ahead and pop through some of these individual elements to start getting this set up. So if you don't see this screen, you want to make sure that you go ahead and click on over on applications. And once you click on applications, it'll give you your single site. Click on that site and it's going to take you here. Obviously, I can't show you all the sites that I have just for security reasons. So I started out on this demo site. As you can see here, you can just click this link and it's going to take you to this super long URL, which is just the demos or staging name that you're going to be able to change later. But let's go ahead, and the nice thing is we can actually log in. I think I've already logged in, I have, but what you can do is you can actually click to copy your username, click to copy the password that they created for you to be able to log into this site. Okay, so by default it has WordPress's standard theme that kind of comes installed with WordPress, but we want something that's a little bit better, a little bit more tailored to building an email list and everything in between. Okay, so what we're going to do here is first we're going to head on over to notablethemes.com. Then we're going to click on themes, scroll on down, and we're going to find one that's called headline. So all you got to do is click get it free. Yes, this is 100% free, so just enter your experience with WordPress and then your email address, and then what's going to happen is Notable Themes is going to email you a plugin that I'm going to use here in a moment to be able to download that and install it on your WordPress website for free. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's pop on over to plugins in our new WordPress website. We're going to click up here on add new. We're going to click upload plugin, and then we're just going to drag this one right over. This is the plugin that we received via email after signing up over on Notable Themes. We'll see that it has been installed, so now we have to activate it. And there we go. Once active, we can go down to Notable down here, and we're going to be able to see a whole host of themes and plugins that we can get, some free, some not. But as we'll be able to see here, Headline, which is what we're looking for, is free. So we're just going to go ahead and click Install. We'll see that it has been installed because it has this nice little blue color. I'm going to pop on over to Appearance, over to Headline, and we're going to click Activate. Going to visit the site. You're going to see that it's going to kind of look funny the first time that you go in there. So all you have to do is click under Theme Settings, and then under Refresh Styles, click that button, and it should start to look normal. There we go. So not a lot to look at yet, but we're going to start to fix that as we go through. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is let's start to get this looking a little bit better, right? This doesn't look too great right now. So we're going to click on this Customize tab, and you're going to be able to see that we're going to be able to go through here and do quite a bit of customizing. Okay, so I'm going to say that this is going to be the name of the site right here. And in fact, let's just go ahead and just use my name, and we'll go ahead and use Just Some Daily Musing. So there you go. It's going to have my name kind of up there as the logo, so you don't necessarily even need a logo. If you want to insert one, there will be a place to do that. You can add here a site icon. So if I wanted to, I could add an icon that shows up alongside the URL in the browser. I'm going to go ahead and leave that off for now. And then the color palette. This is kind of the fun stuff where you get to go through and determine what the color scheme is going to look like. So I'll do kind of like a teal color, secondary color. I'll go ahead and leave that gray, and the base color can stay that darker gray as well. Typography, and here's the cool thing about this. We just get to pop in here and go over to Google Fonts, and let's go ahead and pick out some nice typefaces to make sure that this is kind of our own. So there is one that I like called, I think it's Abril Fat Face, kind of a funny name, but it works. All right, so all I'm going to do is copy that title, paste it in there, and then there we go. And then for this, I usually like to use one called Railway, and that's for the body type. There we go. So now for the imagery, I want to go ahead, and I'm not going to use a logo, but I do want a default background image. So let's go ahead and open a nice site called Pexels, which has a bunch of totally free stock photos, and I usually just like to use a nice picture of a mountain. So this one looks nice. Let's go ahead and snag this one. Go ahead and do the original size. Then we're going to go ahead and click under background photo, and we're going to drag that on. Okay, so once that has uploaded, we're just going to go ahead and click on choose image. And there's not too much to see with this image at the moment, but as you'll be able to see here, once that kind of reloads, it's actually in the background down here. So anytime it's using that blue translucent bar, you'll be able to see our background image. Other than that, we can go through and we can mess with transitions. I'm going to leave that the same. That's just kind of how fast or slow the transition animation takes place. Rounded corners, I'm going to leave it 3, but if you want like super rounded corners, you can type this into like 30. You can't really see it too much. You kind of see it in those corners over there. I'm just going to leave it at 3. I don't really want my corners to be all that rounded. And then we'll go ahead and leave everything else for the moment. Okay, so now we're going to click Publish. Click the X, and again, so it's starting to look a little bit better, right? So now what we want to do is probably want to create a couple of pages. So what you do is you just, under New, you just want to find New Page. And then what I'm also going to recommend here, and this is kind of a side note, but what you probably want to do is head on over to plugins, click add new, and I highly recommend using the classic editor, just because particularly if you're a writer and you're going to be creating content regularly, or even if you're not a writer and you're going to be creating content regularly, I'm going to highly recommend that you use the classic editor just because it makes life a little bit easier. I do see here that I have some plugins up that need to be updated, so this is kind of a good aside, which is that you want to always make sure that you keep all of your plugins up to date, because that's going to ensure that your site is has the maximum amount of security that it needs. Outdated plugins are notorious for hackers to exploit, so make sure that you always keep those plugins up to date. Okay, so we've updated the plugins and this theme, which we're not using, so we didn't really have to do that. But now what we can do is go back to new, and under page, we're going to be able to say a little about me, and I'm not going to type a whole bunch in here right now, but I will just add some placeholder text. There we go, so you get the idea. So I do want to add some sort of page to go alongside everything. Click OK, and then click publish. Okay, so pretty basic. It's just got about me and then some information right here. Then what we want to do is let's pop back into customize. And then what we want to do is we want to establish a couple of things. The first is we want to make sure that we have this specified as an actual menu. So we're going to click on under menus, create new. I'm just going to call it main, and I'm going to check this box that says primary. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add a link to home and then about me, and I'm just going to click publish. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create one more. I'm going to call this footer. Click on footer, then next. And I'm actually not going to add anything to the footer, but in the future what you can do is add things like your privacy policy, or if you have any secondary links that you want to use, that would be a great place to put them, is down in the footer. So we'll click publish, and they're going to show up right down here. Okay, so now that we have that all set up and squared away, now we've added our menu, you'll be able to see them up here. What I'm also going to recommend is that as you start publishing content, it's going to be a good idea to put really popular like categories up here, so you can categorize your various posts. Then what you can do is actually add those categories up to this menu, so that if, for example, you've got posts that are specific to productivity, you can have a link to show all your productivity posts. You've got a link to tech or tools or whatever you want to do. If you've got popular categories that you're going to use to organize your posts later, it's a great way to be able to do it. Okay, so you'll see here we've got our nice little search bar here. We've got our navigation for some of the pages that are going to be important. And then we've got the kind of bread and butter, which is going to be the content. So let's go ahead and create a new post so we can kind of see how that works. Give it some content. You can specify the type of content that it is. Let's add a new category and say that this is productivity. You can add any tags if you want to, and then you can of course use pixels to get a nice photo to actually use for this particular post. Here's a good one. There we go. So now what we're going to do is for our featured image, we're going to click that link. See that that has been uploaded. So we just click set featured image. And typically you're going to want to go through and decide if you want to publish this immediately or if you want to go through and actually schedule it out to publish by itself in the future. But just for the sake of this example, we're just going to go ahead and click publish. Okay, then if we go and we view the post, see, there we go. We've got a nice headline, got that category right there. We've got this content. And the reason that we added that thumbnail or that featured image is that it's going to show up right here. So there you go. You're going to see all of these posts. This one doesn't yet have a thumbnail, but we can go ahead and edit this post and add one in there. This looks like a nice photo. So we'll go ahead and do the large. There we go. And we'll see that that has uploaded, so we'll click set featured image, click update, go back to the front end, and there we go. Now, since we're working in something called Cloudways for our hosting, one of the other things I'll point out is that it comes standard with something called Breeze. Breeze is a nice little plugin that's going to help you ensure that there's caching built into the site itself, which means that it's going to load lightning fast, particularly for people who are not logged into the website. So if at any point in time you've been making some changes to the site and you see they're stuck, it's not changing, why isn't it changing? Try going up to Breeze, click Purge All Cache, and that's going to ensure that it kind of regenerates that cache to ensure that everything works. So there we go. We've got our two first pieces of content. And the great thing is with using something like Headline is that you don't have to do just articles, right? So if I wanted to, I could go on over, if I wanted to post my Rightly TV, oops, spelled that wrong, Rightly TV. If I wanted to have a home for my Rightly TV episodes, I could technically go ahead and just use that. All I'd have to do is copy the URL of that YouTube video, and the same works for Vimeo. Just gonna paste that in there, click update, view the front end, there you go. And you see it's beautifully formatted as well, and it is going to be mobile responsive. One of the other things you'll notice here, we've got two things. One is we've got links to go to previous posts, and then we've got a bio section. So what I can do is click on theme settings up here at the top, and then if I want to, I can pick whether or not I want that bio to show up. If I do, let's say I want that to show up, just go ahead and click on the top right hand corner to go to your profile. Right under biographical info, we just fill that out. And there you go. And it links back to all of your posts, and then it's got a spot in here for comments. So just that easy, we've got this up and running to be able to do our podcast episode or our video episodes, our articles, and if you wanted to, you could also do a podcast for free. Now that would be a whole video in and of itself for how to set up a podcast with this site, but you could do it with a tool called Blueberry, and I'll go ahead and leave a link below if you'd like to check that out. They've got a ton of training tools and tutorials, so you could technically do everything we've done here in this video to set up articles. You could paste your videos in here, and you could even use this specifically for a podcast if you wanted to. Okay, so we'll pop back over to the front end and take a quick look at what we've got going so far. We've got our content, which is going to show up in a grid format. We've got our name, we've got our navigation. In fact, let's go ahead and pop in here really quick, and let's go ahead and add in our category that we had created. So we're going to go under menus, we're going to go under main, add items, and we've got under categories, productivity. So we'll go ahead and add that here, click publish. There we go. So now under productivity, we can just see our productivity posts. Okay, so we've accomplished one important piece to that puzzle, which is creating relevant, useful content for the people who want to receive it, right? So this is going to start to build. I can post a new article or a new video or a new podcast episode once a week, but we haven't quite addressed yet how to actually start building our email list. So let's go up to theme settings. And you'll see here we've got a separate tab that says marketing. So now what we need to do is we need to make sure that we provide some sort of headline, some sort of tool or resource that we're going to give away for free. So let's say I'm going to put together a checklist or my top 10 tips for growing a brand online. Then what we're going to be able to do is add a little bit of a description of what people are going to be able to get. And then here is where we're going to be able to upload an image if we want. But more importantly, here is where we're going to specify the email form embed code. So if you're using something like MailChimp, that works. What I'm going to highly recommend is that you can actually set up a totally free ConvertKit account. So you can go ahead and click this link here in the sidebar, and that's going to open up a brand new place for you to be able to access a ConvertKit account. So you can just click, it says get your first month's free, but they actually do now have a totally free account. So if I click this, it's going to take me to my ConvertKit account. But if you're not already logged in, which I am, it should actually take you to a page where you can set up your very own ConvertKit account. So let's go ahead and pop on over to do that. Okay, so I'm inside my brand new, totally free ConvertKit account, and so all you gotta do is you need to go up here where it says landing pages and forms, and we're just going to go ahead and create a new form. Click add new. We're going to do form, inline, and we're going to do Claire. So we just want the really basic clean kind. And you want to go through here and make sure that under your auto responder right down here, you want to make sure that you include a download. You want to download to your free PDF or guide or whatever it is that you're going to be giving away. After you've done that, we're going to click on embed, click on copy, and then down here is we're going to paste that in, click save changes, and let's take a look. There we go. Get my top 10 tips for growing a brand online, and that's the first thing people see up there at the top. They enter their first name, their email address, click subscribe, and they're on your email list. Great thing is that each post individually as well has this same call to action. And as you can see, that just took a few clicks to set up. And now I've got this website that is a house, is a home for my regular useful content, as well as a place where people can sign up to join my email list. Okay, so now there's one last step that we have to take in order to tie all of this together, and that of course is to make sure that this isn't at this really long and ugly URL, right? We want to make sure that it actually has the correct URL. So first what we're going to do is we're going to pop back over into Cloudways, and we're going to click on domain management. So we're going to click on that, and this is going to be where we're going to be able to specify our brand new URL. So what we're gonna do is just gonna type that in. Remember, I purchased thomasmcgee.co. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we get the IP address for this particular server that we're on. So I can't actually show it to you in the screen. However, all you have to do, I can just describe it to you. Click on servers, and then under your server, copy your IP address and paste it in these two fields. So I would just click edit, paste the IP address there, save changes, click edit on the second one, paste the IP address there, save changes. So make sure that your server's IP address shows up here and here. Okay, so I went ahead and I updated the DNS settings as I just mentioned. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on domain management, and now I get to add in my domain. And then I get to click Save Changes. So here that'll take a moment to update. So what it's actually doing here is it's not only updating the domain on the server, but it's also going through and updating all of the links, all of the images. It's updating that WordPress website, everything in there so that you don't have to worry about running any third-party plugins. There we go. We'll see that the domain has been updated. Now what we want to do is, it's really important that we have an SSL certificate. It's just great to have. There's no reason not to. And inside of Cloudways, it's totally free. So we're just going to go ahead and enter in an email address. So I'm just going to do, and then the domain that we want this applied to, which is of course the one that we just added. And then we're going to click Install Certificate. Okay, so it looks like that has installed. So now what we're going to do is just click Enable HTTPS on this particular item that has popped up. Okay, so now everything has been set up. So we're just going to go ahead and click Close on here. And then we're going to go back up to Access Details, and you're going to be able to see that it is now using that new domain. So you can see here it's got thomasmcgee.co/wp-admin is going to be the new login admin. After you do all this, you will have to log in again because it does have a new domain. There we go. So it's taken me to the login. So you just click copy, paste, and there we go. It is now thomasmcgee.co. It's got my name, it's got my proper domain, it's got all of the information here that I had created, all the images work, and everything else. So one last thing I'm going to recommend before we wrap up here today is that you pop on up to the admin, go under settings, and make sure that you configure all of these individual settings. The most important ones, you want to make sure under general that you go down and you add your correct time zone. So go through and pick the time zone that is going to be correct for you. The second thing I'm going to recommend is that you go under permalinks and that you're very aware of the type of permalinks that you're using. So by default, it's got this index.php and then the year and all that. I don't want that. What I want is just the post name. So it's just going to be thomasmcgee.co and then the post name. You can do the month, day and name, or month and name if you want to. Pick whichever one you think is best, but I'm going to recommend one of these 4, or I should say one of these 3. I probably wouldn't do numeric because that's not very SEO friendly. Probably just post name is going to work for most people, and then click Save Changes. Then we'll be able to jump back up to the front end and we'll be able to see if I show you the URL. If I go down to this particular post, you're able to see that hello, this is just a test right here is going to be part of that URL. And the same is going to apply as well to any of the pages that you create. So as you can see, it's just /about. Okay, so that's it. I know this was a super long video, but I wanted to give you everything that you needed to get up and running with a basic, simple, but powerful WordPress website that isn't going to cost you very much, and yet will be a great home for your content, as well as a place to start building your email list. Now keep in mind, most of these tools were totally free. However, for the ones that weren't, I am an affiliate, which means that I will receive a small commission should you decide to sign up with them. However, I only recommend tools that I myself am using and am recommending to my clients. So as always, if you found this video useful, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not already, because we've got many new videos coming in the future. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.